Hello team, James Martin here on the Entrepreneurs Conversation. We're going to speak to James Green. James is going to tell us today of how he came from driving his father's fish truck at night with smelly fishy fingers to actually helping himself to online sales of over £8 million. Let's find out how he did it. Hi James, welcome.
Hi James, thanks for having me on.
That's all right. I do all these weird introductions, but what is the story? Where did you start all this from?
The story goes back to it's a long way back to the age of about 13. Growing up as a kid, I was always interested in a love of performing, a love of magic, and my dad ran his own business. So I guess dinner table conversation was quite often work related, and that kind of rubbed off on me. I decided at 13 to start my own magic business.
Wow. Okay.
Which was called One Magic.
Okay.
An online business which stood for wow, another new deal. So the whole business was based on the premise of pilot high and sell it cheap. You know, traditionally you could buy magic from magic shops, wasn't readily available online. With magic shops, you know, you've got bricks and mortar expenses, but when you're selling online, or in my case, I was operating from my bedroom, I didn't have those expenses.
And James, what age are you now? What age were you then at this point?
I was 13. I'm now
Wow.
37.
Okay. And what was your father's business? What type of business was that?
So he's in the fish trade.
Right. Okay. So that's where the fishy bits are, the things are. So when I read some notes on you, it was saying that you did drive a truck delivering fish, and that was obviously for the family business. So that was quite a disruptive thing. What you were doing was doing it online. How did that go?
Initially, it went phenomenally well. It took
Right.
off like a rocket. I mean, we were selling packs of playing cards that were imported from America that traditionally had been sold at £5 a pack, that we were able to sell at £1.50 a pack as a loss leader. So it really took off like a rocket. And then quite quickly we caught the attention of all of our competitors who didn't like what we were doing, and contacted our main supplier in America, and put a stop to supplying us.
They had that much power to speak to them?
Yeah, they all clubbed together.
Wow. So that was a very disruptive for them, I suppose. Well, that's quite a story, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then, so carry on. So where did you go from there?
So that I sort of learned a lesson from that. I was quite, it was inexperienced. I was young. I sort of learned that maybe you can't take on the big boys and win, and I needed to maybe get some more experience. So at 14, I went and did work experience for a company called Marvin's Magic, who do all the in-store magic tricks and all the in-store theatre in Hamleys, Harrods and Selfridges. And I did very well at that. I got recognised, and off the back of work experience, they offered me a Saturday job.
Okay.
So in my sort of mid to late teens, I worked in Hamleys as the in-store magician. And the MD of the company, Marvin Burglass, ended up mentoring me. And at 17, never did particularly well at school. Didn't really want to stay on at school, but didn't quite know what I wanted to do. And he gave me this fantastic opportunity to move to America, move to New York, and run their concession in Toys R Us in Times Square.
That is something else, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really incredible. It was kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Big, with Tom Hanks as a kid running a toy store. I mean, it was literally just like that. I was 17 and And
how was mum and dad with all this at this age?
Yeah, they've always been very supportive. I think they've always known, they've always backed me from a very young age. They've always known that I'm someone that's quite independent, someone that's gone out there and would always try and make things happen. I think mum was concerned because she probably wanted me to go through that conventional route and have a backup plan and a plan B. Dad more so, go and get it.
And then, go on, so carry on. So we're stepping through the years now. So now you're 17, you're over there. Then what happens?
So long story short, we increased sales by 300%. We completely
So did they put your money up?
They brought me back to the UK. They promoted me. They made me actually created a role for me. Made me head of global demonstrations.
Okay.
I ended up managing the magic and arts and crafts demonstrations in Hamleys, Harrods, Selfridges, Toys R Us. At the time, Hamleys was going through franchising, so it was expanding quite rapidly around the world. So we'd go out and open these concessions in different countries. But it was just the most amazing experience in terms of people and in terms of how to sell.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much about the fact that it was magic. Actually, the job was a sales job.
I think you're right, because you're at a very young age and you're rubbing up against these people that are business people and entrepreneurs, and you're in the lion's den with them, and that's very influential, isn't it? You know, that's I remember it, James. I used to stand in the corner of my parents' pub as a 13-year-old and listen to all the stories and go and do Saturday work with these guys, and it started to either get you enthusiastic to be an entrepreneur, to do something yourself and be independent, but it also started you to understand the sort of flicks and tricks that they did.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really, although I was paid very, very well for my age, it was just a great opportunity to learn and to soak it all up. And you know, I made every single managerial mistake under the sun in terms of.
But that's good, isn't it? That's all good scars.
Yeah, very, very much so. It's just the best learning experience, and I really looked at that. I was with them for about 5 years, so into my early 20s, and I just looked at that whole experience as a university experience.
Yeah.
But I knew that I did ultimately want to do my own thing and run my own business. At the time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I had this experience of selling the magic. And actually what I realized through selling the magic, the art of selling the magic, was not to employ magicians, but actually to employ actors who are naturally very extroverted. Magicians tend to be quite introverted. So we employed actors, out-of-work actors, and we taught them the magic.
Right.
Through doing that, one of the products became the number one selling product in Hamleys.
Okay.
But through employing actors and realizing I knew how to sort of multi-site manage and having this love of performance, I decided that I was going to pack this job in and go and open up a stage school.
Okay. What was the number one product?
It was called the 50 Greatest Magic Tricks.
Right. Okay.
So 50 different magic tricks.
All in a box.
All in this one tin for $29.99.
I think I might have bought it for one of the kids back in the day. There you go. Okay. So now you're thinking you're going to be all things lovey with a stage school. And what happened?
I went to go and do it. I had the location. I had drama teachers. We interviewed for teachers. I had the location. I had the teachers. We're pretty much ready to go. I now need to get bums on seats. I've got to advertise this. How are we going to get some students? We've got to advertise this stage school. So I found the local magazine, and I called them up. How much is a quarter page?
Yeah.
It's £500.
Because that's what we used to do in the day. That was it, wasn't it? Just paper advertising. Yeah. Wow.
£500 for a quarter page. Okay, how much is a half page? £1,000 for a half page. So I get off the phone and I'm going on the train up to Hamleys, and I'm flicking through this magazine. I'm counting the ads in the magazine. I got adding it all up as I'm going through, and I'm just thinking,
what, adding the ads up?
Forget the stage school. Let's start a publishing company.
I love it.
So I got to work, and in my lunch break, I was so motivated that I just went through this magazine. I created my own magazine. And I phoned some people up with an imaginative magazine that was now going to launch to try and sell ad space.
What? And you literally just pivoted on that one thing?
Literally just pivoted off that one thing.
And how old are you then?
21.
21. Yeah. Everything's possible at 21, isn't it? Because I talk to, and I do some consultancy. And you either are going to do it there at that age, or when you get later on, perhaps that you don't do stuff because you're too involved with a girlfriend or a wife or children or whatever. So the age side of you is where you're going to do it, or you're going to do it in your late 40s when you've learnt something and then you become independent out of a job. So we're now at 21. So then what happens? How successful is the magazine?
So by the 10th phone call, somebody actually bites and says that they want to advertise in this magazine that doesn't exist. So now I've got proof of concept.
On just one bite?
This
is in your head, by the way, isn't it?
So off the back of that one bite, I quit my job, which was a high-paying job for high-paying job for an adult, but a high-paying job for a 21-year-old. And went and set up this publishing company. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Oh.
Very, very, very
How
difficult.
How long did that last then?
3 years.
Really?
3 years I plugged away at it for.
So you stuck in there for 3 years? I thought you were going to say 3 months.
No. And it was 3 hard.
And are you still at Hamleys now?
No.
I'd
left. I jacked that job in. I'm going to go and start my own business. I'm 21 now. I'm going to screw it. Let's do it.
Yeah, the old Richard Branson saying. And then what happened? How do you get to where do you get to the point where you say, this isn't happening? What happened? What was that day like there? Where did you come to that decision and that reality?
I knew for quite a while. I knew for probably, that you go through the first year and you think, okay, we're a year in, we're breaking even, we're not hemorrhaging money, but I'm barely getting by here, and I'm used to earning good money. We'll go again. We actually then I'm launching a second magazine. So we had one magazine in Essex and one magazine in Kent.
Right.
So we had 2, and I'm doing everything. I'm walking the streets. I'm selling the ads.
Yeah.
Designing it, writing the articles, you name it. Every single job, one man band. I'm doing it. It was really, really, really hard.
And then what was the day when you just said, no, this isn't working?
Yeah, so probably 2 years in, I realised it wasn't working, and it was just a hard. Trying to think of the actual moment, but I just.
And I've been there with things that we've set up and tried, and as I've got older, I've got quicker at dumping stuff quickly and cutting the losses. But you try and stay in longer because you think it might come round. But I'm always, and I think the audience and the listeners are interested in finding out, how do you get the gumption to come from that to idea number 72, because that as entrepreneurs, that's what we are like a bit. How did that work? What happened?
Yeah, I was actually completely downhearted, completely. I mean, it really broke me.
Yeah.
I was at a point where I just thought, I just want to quit. I just want to go and get a job and just work for somebody else and do something that's.
So you're like 25, 26 years old now?
Yeah, okay. About 25.
Yeah.
I actually decided to go and work for my dad.
Right.
Delivering fish.
Right. Okay.
In the early hours of the morning.
So that's a big change, buddy, isn't it? You've really, am I any good at this? Am I a failure? All of those things must be happening to you in your brain. Yeah. So go on. You're now stinking a fish.
Yeah. So early mornings are not my strong point. I'm not somebody that can do an early morning. So I remember the alarm bell would go off at sort of midnight, and quite often I would sleep through. I'd get an angry phone call from my dad, going, "Where the hell are you?" Right. That was also taught me a lot. It taught me tenacity. It taught me. First time I really had a proper job. I mean, even when I worked for doing Barvin's Magic, I kind of was my own man.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, although it was my dad's business, I had a boss, had to answer to somebody.
It's kind of more that showing up and being there on that time frame that you have to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess more than anything, I absolutely hated it. I absolutely hated the early mornings. I absolutely hated the product, the smell.
And that's a great motivator to move on, isn't it? So what happened next?
Yeah, very much so. So I was doing this job through the early hours of the night. When I come home, growing up, healthy eating had always been very topical. My dad's in food. My mum's a personal trainer. I've always been taught you are what you eat.
Yeah.
So I was going to the gym, and alongside going to the gym, I was supplementing. And I knew through my time in New York that the health movement was a big thing out there, and the vegan foods and superfoods was a big thing. It hadn't quite taken off here in the UK at the time.
It's very interesting because I spent a lot of time in my early 20s in America, and you do find, James, don't you, that they're a few years ahead of us. And it's a good thing to do. If you're out there to see what's trending out there, it will eventually come to us. It just takes our digestion here a little bit longer. So you could see the health movement happening. So then what did you do about it?
So I was making these superfood health shakes initially just for myself, just to feel good and supplement going to the gym. But I realized just through my business head, I guess, that the margin on these products was very good.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Was very, very good. So initially, just I was still very, very downtrodden. I remember the first year of giving this a go. I didn't really take it that seriously. I was sort of pushing it out a little bit myself on Facebook. No paid ads or anything like that. And just sort of testing the waters with it.
And do you think your enthusiasm and your wings were clipped a bit from what had happened in the past?
Yeah. I was really at a real rock bottom.
And it makes you feel a bit more considered of how you do it, as opposed to I can do anything. You've sort of had that bit of a bruise.
It was a very humbling experience. Yeah. It really took me right back down to earth. But actually, James, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I agree. Yeah, they're very good. So you're moving towards all things pressed and healthy. And what did you do then? Go back on your online platform, or how did you do it?
Yeah, I thought about, first of all, thought about everything that had gone wrong with the previous business and how it could be different with this business. And I thought there's this theory called the Big Domino Theory, where, if you want to get a business to work or want something to work, all you got to do is knock down that one big domino, go for the big domino, get that domino to fall, and then all the other dominoes will also fall. Right. So I thought, well, what's the big domino? So I knew through the days of Marvin's Magic, TV shopping, we'd done that before, QVC could potentially be a big domino. Or the other one back then was Groupon. I could see on Groupon that you could do huge, supplements was very big, and you could do 10,000 units in a day.
And then for our listeners and viewers, explain Groupon, exactly what it is.
Yeah, so Groupon is a day, I don't know if it's even still around, but it was a daily deal website where brands would put their business or their product onto Groupon, but it would be heavily discounted.
Okay.
The idea, or Groupon would always sell it, the idea is that it's done as a marketing exercise to then pull customers back in.
Once they've got a hold of your brand, they like it, they'll go and find you and spend more money. Okay.
What I decided, because I could see that the numbers were so huge, was this wasn't going to be a marketing exercise, was that I was potentially going to build a Groupon business.
Right, and stay on it, and that would be the funnel.
Exactly that. And after a year of hounding Groupon, eventually we got the product onto Groupon. So the product back then was called Super 11 Shake, 11 superfoods in one raw vegan health shake. We got it onto Groupon. Good timing in January, which in the health space is busiest time of year. Yeah. And bearing in mind, I'm still in my bedroom at this time. Okay. It took off like an absolute rocket. Okay. Within our first week, I think we did 5,000 units.
Wow!
So huge success. Very, 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 very quick.
And in those early stages, where's all this being prepared and made and done?
Yeah, so I'm literally still at home at this point. I then, literally in that week of, oh my gosh, we've now got 5,000 orders to fulfill. Go out and find warehousing, find warehousing space. Put an ad up on Gumtree because we now need people to fulfill these orders. Yeah. And very quickly put the whole thing together on the fly.
Wow. And that's really where and you've just grown that. Is it stayed as that, or has the actual products and stuff changed?
So it's grown and changed a bit over the years. We ended up a Groupon business for the first sort of 3 years. We became one of the largest sports nutrition and supplement resellers on Groupon. We scaled it not just in the UK but into 14 European countries.
And the brand is called what now?
The brand back then was called Super 11.
Super 11.
The brand now is called Nutriseed.
Nutriseed.
What I realised, James, with Groupon was, again, we didn't own the customer. We didn't own the customer experience, and I could see that maybe the writing was on the wall with this, that all our eggs were in one basket.
And data or no data?
No data at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they had all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we needed to
do something. It was a great cash cow. It was a very profitable business model, and actually gave me that startup capital to then launch Nutriseed.
Okay.
We realised we needed to pivot.
And this is, James, you're now at this stage where we're talking now. You're 100% owner of it.
Yes. Yeah.
But no partners.
No partners. It's been completely profitable, completely bootstrapped since day one, and we've just rolled the cash over.
And then, are you doing to get to the scale where you're now? Have you done bank funding backing you and stuff? Have you borrowed to get equipment or warehousing and stuff?
We've borrowed to get warehouse. Just bought a warehouse.
Yeah. Okay.
So mortgages, but no.
It's very good, guys. If you're listening to this and that's a rare thing. I mean, it really is. I've had partners over the years that I don't advocate now because it all ends in tears, but you would just use them to get cash into the business and not expertise. So that's really good. So bring us up to date now. What are you doing every day now in the business? Where are you at?
In terms of my day-to-day, or in terms
your
of
day-to-day? What are you doing every day? You get up in the morning. What happens because you're now turning over how much?
This year we'll do 8 million.
8 million.
We're cruising towards those eight figures. I'm determined to get there. So we're at a bit of an inflection point with the business.
Yeah.
There's a team there. We're a team of there's about 20 of us in the business.
Yeah.
But I've got nobody in the business other than myself that's really driving it forwards. So the big task at the moment is bringing in a number two, bringing in an operator, somebody that can work within the business and actually serve as a head of ops.
Right.
So that it can actually free up my time, because my time is currently quite fragmented. It's spent on that growth and on that vision and sales and marketing and trying to grow the business and take it forwards. But it's also being pulled back into the direction of ops.
Right.
And we make and manufacture. We still to this day make and manufacture all of our own products.
And is that the way will you stay with that?
Yeah. Again, sort of did that through naivety. That's quite a rare thing for a supplement brand to do.
Because they usually ship it out, don't they?
Yeah. A lot of the times they're just almost a marketing brand, and they will contract manufacture.
Yeah.
But actually, again, it gives us a bit of an edge from a margin perspective.
Okay.
During COVID, when all the factories shut and nobody could get any stock,
you were still cruising, weren't you?
Huge opportunity for us because we could keep going.
Okay. And then with your with all these hats on that you're doing, what do you see? What will you do then? Will you look into the industry to find that ops person that will come in? But they've got to be of serious quality, haven't they? To take it off of your hand. You know it backwards, don't you? So that's a hard find, isn't it?
Yeah, we need somebody really, really good, really experienced, a proper adult, a proper person that's been there.
So if you're an adult and you're watching this and you know anything about this, contact James. He's on the hunt. So that's where you're at now. And we had a bit of a chat. Tell our listeners, you want to grow this. Go on, tell me what. And because I really liked this bit. You want to grow this to what? Tell me what you said.
Well, look, I think you should aim high.
Yeah,
I definitely think you should aim high in life. The goal is 50 million.
Yeah, I love that.
Within the next 10 years.
Yeah.
The 3 to 5 year goal is 20 million.
And James, how old are you now?
I'm 37.
Youngster. Puppy.
I don't feel it.
No, you don't feel it. Well, you've done all that hard work from 13. You had an uphill paper round, boy. It was hard.
Hard graft, yeah.
It's a lovely story, though, to come from that magic side right the way through to where you are now. And how do you do? I love this question. Do you feel successful?
I do and I don't.
Yeah.
I'm content. I'm very happy with where I am.
Yeah.
But then probably not.
Yeah.
Is the other side of that.
We're a funny breed of people, aren't we, entrepreneurs? Because it's a thing where when is enough, and also, what does success? What's it look like? What does it feel like? And it just always feels, for me, even at 62, I don't feel successful. I feel like there's so much more I need to do and get done. And I think in the pre-chat we were talking about what is it that makes us do stuff, and is it that we want more wages, or we want a bigger flashy car, or whatever? And we were talking, and we were saying that it's really about the creativity that we put into making the systems, processes, and products work. So, are you still creating new products? Is that what you're still doing now?
Yes, all the time. We're very MPD focused as a brand. I love to build. I love to create. So I really like that side of the business.
Okay.
Part of our growth plans is horizontal scale. So we have a very goal orientated customer. Weight loss is a big driver at the moment for our customer.
And is that a big part of the brand, the weight loss?
Yeah, it's huge.
Because it's a massive market, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's also being eaten up by the Zeneca and the pens and the injections as well. And do you think that will affect your business?
Yeah, I think that's something that we need to be very, very mindful of. I see it as a threat. I also see it as an opportunity. I think what you'll start to...
He says all the right stuff. See what he did there? You're good, James. The opportunity, when it looks like it's coming to bite you, lean in. That's great.
I don't think it's going anywhere. I'm reading a book about it at the moment, and they said that it says in this book as a journalist, and he said this is going to be the biggest disruptor. It's the biggest thing to happen to the weight loss industry. It's the equivalent of the iPhone launching, and what happened there. It decimated the phone industry.
I listened to a podcast, Acquired.
Yep.
And they did a whole thing. I think it's about 4 hours long about the company that owned the pens. I can't think of that. Do you know? Can you remember who it is, Ollie? Look it up. Who owns it? But they're billion company.
Novo Nordisk.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well done. And it was such an interesting story. But the disruption, especially for where you are as well. And will you come up with? You're going to have to come up with creative ideas to work around it.
Yeah. So we're looking at all of that at the moment.
Okay.
I think that. There's a huge opportunity around protein. I mean, ultimately, if you're on a GLP-1 regime, you still have to eat.
Yeah.
Still have to put food into your body.
Yeah.
You still have to supplement. So it's thinking about what products that we could create
to marriage in with that.
Tick those boxes.
Yeah. This is the right thing that marriages in with that. I mean, use that as the launch, because you were explaining to me that your budgets for creating the funnel, the consistent funnel that you need to get those numbers up to to that big number that you want, and to go. And you're international as well, aren't you?
We're ever so slightly.
Yeah, but you're going to push into that more
potentially
on your own, James, or with partners.
It's something we're looking at.
Okay.
I think there's so much, and it's something we've looked at a few times over the years. I've looked at the US, and I've looked at Germany as also another big market. I think, James, I've come to the conclusion that we're probably better off in the UK for now, and just stick in our lane and stick to what we're doing for the size that we are.
Because when you look at that, and I've been involved with doing some work with some companies that were doing that jump. It takes your focus of your home market. I think the other thing is that you end up needing a ton of money to do it successfully if you're going to do it without an actual partner, and then it ends up being VC money, and the VC money can end up giving you restrictions of what you can do and how you can do it and the speed you can do it. So I think it's very relative to what you do and the lane that you stay in. Where do you see yourself? Just we'll do a short one. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? Where do you see the business being in the next 3 years?
Yeah, we'll hit 20 million.
Yeah.
The next 3 years we'll be at 20 million.
20 million. Yeah.
Hard question to answer. I think ultimately you can't always wake up, get out of bed every day and love what you do. But I think if it evens out and I'm happy and I'm enjoying the gig.
I think that is it. I mean, how does it bite into your home life? Are you still managing to balance that, have that balance?
Yeah, so that's always been something that's been very important to me, especially growing up with my dad was a real grafter, still is, works six days a week. And it was tough, didn't really he wasn't around that much because by the time we'd come home from school, he'd be asleep because he'd be getting up really early in the morning. So I always thought if I'm going to run my own business, I want that flexibility. So I work from home. Got a really nice home setup. Yeah. I work a lot. But I make sure that it's balanced, that it's Monday to Friday, that I do try and switch off on the weekends. Okay. My wife will probably say otherwise. But at least working from home gives me that flexibility. We've just had a newborn. I can shut off at lunchtime. I can come in. I can come and see my daughter. Yeah. I can see my son when he gets home from school. I think it's really important.
I think it is really important, and I will commonly go and interview people or see people that we're doing consultancy work for, and they have got that very wrong. Yeah. They're just thinking that it's all about hard work and not smart work. And there's a real big difference. One is about just driving yourself into the ground and ruining your relationship, or you need to work that you have compartmentalisation of what you're going to do. And if you're booking that holiday with the family, you need to be present and there and turn the phone off and tell everybody you're not available and be there.
It's a really difficult thing. It's a really difficult balance. I'm really in the thick of it at the moment. We just acquired a business. Right. So we took over and was a failing business. We took over that business in January. So we're 3 months in.
Good deal.
Yeah, a really.
Did you smash it? Did you push them?
a really good deal. So I guess. If you ask me that question at the moment in terms of balance, it's off point at the moment. Right. I feel like I'm in the middle of a race. I'm in the middle of that marathon, just sprinting to try and get towards.
Because it's you and your creativity to turn that failing thing around, isn't it? And you can't employ someone to do that, can you? No. It's got to be driven from you, isn't it? And you make those decisions, right or wrong. They've got to come from you. And I've been there. And what will you do? Are you rebranding it? Tell us about that business. What are you going to try and do with that?
So the business we've taken over is a meal prep business. Okay. So it delivers chef-prepared meals, all of your meals chef-prepared to your door once a week. So folds quite nicely into what we do. We can already see from our customer base that there is a demand.
Especially in the lost weight market.
Yeah, exactly that. So our core product with NutraSeed is called the 5-2 Club. It's based on the intermittent fasting program, the 5-2, right. 2 days a week, 500 calories. The rest of the time is mindful eating. Right. So we get a lot of our customers that are on this 5-2 plan like, well, what do I have on the other? When I'm mindful eating, what can I have? Can I have some ready meals?
They kind of want to be driven by their nose hairs to I just do this. They don't want to think too much about it, do they? They just want to be given what they need to do in front of them in a very clear, precise way and stay with the formula. Yeah,
exactly.
So if you're doing that, James, what are the just go back to the home thing. What do you do for relaxation? Is there hobbies? Is there anything else around? What do you do?
Yeah, so fitness is really important. Okay. I try and work out daily. Yeah. We just had a daughter at the start this year, so that again is a little bit off balance at the moment, but
life will never be the same. You do know that.
It's crazy.
But it's lovely as well, and you need to embrace that. It's brilliant. And if you're, for young entrepreneurs, what would be the advice? What would be the thing that you'd say to the younger you, for people coming forward? What would be the sort of one bit of knowledge that they need to know?
Yeah, I'd probably still just say go and do it. If you're sitting on the fence and you're thinking about it, there's only so long you can run a business in your head for.
There's talkers and doers. That's what I always use that expression. You get talkers and doers, and we do meet a lot of talkers, don't we? And the doing means that at least you've launched. That's what I always explain it as you launch. And even if you've launched slightly off the wrong trajectory, you can pull it round.
And you'll learn.
Yeah.
You'll learn through it. You know, even if it does go wrong, you'll learn.
Yeah. Okay, what I'd like to do at this point, Ollie, what we're doing, we're going to do our feature. We're trying to get features involved, aren't we? To be a more entertaining podcast. So come on, brains, what are we doing?
So today's feature is going to be, what are we dyslexically reading this week?
Well, I don't know. What am I reading? I've been listening. Can I do a listening then? So I've been listening to Acquired again, my favourite podcast, James, and they're doing cricket. Who would have known it's something like £60 billion turnover of revenue for Indian cricket?
Gosh.
And it is just unbelievable. And these American guys from Acquired are doing it, and they said, we're going to do this podcast on cricket, and and the bulk of their viewers are American. And they went, I know you don't think this is going to be a digestible thing. As I've got into it, you need to look it up. The cricket in Acquired, and it's with Ben, and they are just smashing it. And it is a really, really interesting story, well worth a listen.
Wow.
And what are you at? What are you digesting at the moment?
I've just finished listening to an audiobook, and it's called The Coaching Habit.
Okay.
And it's all about asking leading questions. So it's really made me think about sort of how I'm managing my team, and when I'm doing one-on-ones, and how I'm on a day-to-day when I'm talking to my team, and maybe not necessarily empowering them to come up with the answer rather than giving them the answer to the question.
Yeah. The teaching thing, when you look at it, it's where we demonstrate or we allow them to create themselves through steerage.
Yeah.
And what you're trying to do is poke them in the right direction and let them trip up and fall. I talk to we're involved here with the wedding team because this is where we are today. I talk about this is an environment where you can make mistakes and improve. However, we don't want you to make too many mistakes because we want to make sure you learn the lessons from the ones that you do. But it is and I think that when you want to go to 20 million to 50 million with what you're doing, you've got to have an environment that allows people to grow within the business. Otherwise, you're just bringing new big heads in to run it. Well, I think you're going to lose the synergy with the backbone of what you do. And what do you see the future in that market? You just go back to your marketplace. What do you see the future? Will you have to do different products as you go through there? I mean, the food prep is one, and will you have to change to other things?
I'm not sure. I mean, possibly. I think you've got to keep one eye forwards, and one eye sort of rear view.
Yeah.
I think the meal prep is a huge opportunity, and potentially everybody's got to eat. Potentially got a huge.
I think
huge
meal prep has been done by lots of different people. But I think that, when I listen to what you're saying there, when it's purely geared with that environment of weight loss and with a proven product behind it, what you're doing there, I think that really does have legs. I think that has a good future. I think the hardest thing you're going to do is having to spend a ton of money on the promotions to get it into the funnel, to get those people to sign up. And that's, when we get a suppressed market, people pull back on budget, and you and I know we lean in with money because we actually put more money into it because we know the others are pulling back. It gives us a bigger opportunity to grab more of the market.
So it's a huge market, huge opportunity.
Yeah.
We're realizing that it's very offer driven and very discount heavy to bring customers in. It's lifetime value focused, so it does have a very, very sticky customer.
Yeah.
But as you say, acquiring customers is something that's very, very costly.
Yeah. And if people want to learn more, how do they find you?
So you can go online and visit us at www.nutriseed.co.uk.
Okay. And do you have a personal brand as well, or do you not?
No.
Okay. So it's all driven to the company. So if they want to learn more, you want to learn more about all things to do with James Green and his company, find him on that website. And I've really enjoyed it. I think we've had a good chat and an insight to a great story. From that very early age, I think that's a fantastic story. And I hope our listeners and viewers will find, your steadiness needs to be put to one side. And I think you've got to find, with listening to James here, is you need to actually reach out and just do it. And if you make those mistakes, you make those mistakes, but then you're going to learn from them and move on quicker. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
Okay.